The first thing that you look for in a young horse is its athletic ability and how it copes with movement within its own body. So really, the first thing I want to know is whether a horse moves in such a way that he is always going to stay sound and stay healthy muscularly. The problem with young horses nowadays is that they're bred for huge amounts of movement and not always with the amount of bone to back it up. So that means that you tax them at a very young age muscularly. Now, where I feel I have the advantage is with Equitop Myoplast is that I don't need to overtrain the young horses. I have the ability to make sure that I can work them just enough and that their muscular development is given a boost, it's given a bit of extra help with the Equitop Myoplast, so that I don't have to work and work and work them, because with the amount of work that is required to get them strong enough to carry themselves, what you find is if you're not careful and if they don't move in a small enough way, some of these young horses can't move small, especially when they're young, they're gangly, they've still not found their balance yet, that you then get limb injuries, ligament injuries in young horses that you see so often now. The problem we dressage riders have is that we all want it to be perfect the whole time. We're all perfectionists. That's half of the addiction about the sport, is that you never really can get it 100% perfect. It's almost impossible, because you're working with a live animal that A, has its own brain and its own thought process, and B, that has a body with an incredibly intricate bone and muscular structure. Now, horses can't talk, so we don't know how they feel. We don't have to have the ability to reason with them. So we have to learn to become, in that aspect, horsemen as well as riders, so that you can learn to listen to a horse's body. Now, a horse will never perform in a way that it gives the impression as though it wants to do it if there is muscular fatigue or if there is an element of pain somewhere. We can't compete on drugs, so obviously our horses have to be pain-free. And they can only be pain-free if their development process has been meticulous and has been careful. And when the biggest balance that you need to achieve is working the horses enough that they can become educated, that they can develop their physical strength, but not losing their enthusiasm for it. There's no magic wand in the world of dressage. There is no super fast technique that you can use that's going to make it all happen out of the blue. Nor Equitop Myoplast on its own, nor pure schooling and working on its own is going to give you the absolute 100% result that you want. It's a combination of a lot of things, making sure that your horse is fit and healthy. Without a fit and healthy horse to work, you have got nothing. And that's when horses turn sour, and that's where you see a lot of tremendously talented young horses that disappear before they're 6, 7 years old, and you never hear from them again. That happens when horses are asked to do more than what their bodies are capable of at the time. And that's where Equitop Myoplast comes in. For me, especially, I feel the greatest benefit of that is that by giving my horses Equitop Myoplast, what I do is I just give them a head start. It means that I can work together with that and gauge a little bit more the development of my horse, and it means I don't have to overtrain the horse to become stronger. It means I can also sit back and relax a little bit more. But it's not a magic wand. It has to work together with a correct training regime, and it's going to always benefit any horse, whether it's a 4-year-old that's just being backed or an already established Grand Prix horse. If you are asked to work, sometimes beyond your physical capability at the time, you'll do it. especially in a horse's case, they'll do it because we make them do it. We ask them to do it, and they therefore will do it. However, you must remember that they are going to feel the effects of that the following day. And what Equitop Myoplast does more brilliantly than anything for me is that it so much helps the recovery rate in horses when they've had a muscular workout the day before. I feel that I have the same amount of stamina the next day, and that's the biggest problem we have in dressage horses, is it's easy to feed for energy. That's easy, that we can do without a problem, but it's short-term energy. And what you need in dressage is you need the energy, but you need stamina with it. Horses need to be physically strong and have the stamina. And that's where I find that Equitop Myoplast has helped me, is that I have a horse now, a Grand Prix horse, that can compete over 3 days. And they have to compete over 3 days. They have to do a Grand Prix Special, and a cure. And I find that at least on the 3rd day of a competition, I still have strength left in my horse. My latest Grand Prix horse, I've had quite a busy season because it was a question of whether he would be ready enough this year to qualify for the World Equestrian Games. And I had a very conscious decision to make. The selectors asked me to ride in a show in Austria fairly shortly after I competed already in Germany and had come back home. I knew that it would be a 3-day journey for the horse to get there, and I had a very sort of conscious decision to make. Is this the right thing for my horse? He's still a young Grand Prix horse. And for the first time, I actually had the confidence to say, not a problem. I didn't really think about it twice. When I got there, he felt fresh as anything, and I felt no fatigue in my horse. He'd had a really good show, and I then had to travel, because of the results at that show, I had to travel all the way back up to Aachen, where I competed literally no later than 2 weeks after that. And what impressed me more than anything, as I said before, is the recovery rate, that I felt that after 2 days of reaching his destination in Aachen, I rode him, and he felt absolutely brilliant. And I've never once felt that I had to push him for it. Quite the contrary, I felt that I could possibly have fitted in another show. Max has been with me now since December of last year, which is a relatively short period of time. He came to me a fully trained Grand Prix horse, already knowing all the work, but somewhat under-muscled and a very, very difficult character. His owner that bought him on the first day of buying him, he caused her to break both her arms. So he's got a bit of a checkered history. He's also been pushed a bit from pillar to post. Several people have owned him and ridden him. But for some reason, we just clicked. And he's had a very short season, only 3 internationals. And he was placed in all 3 of them, well, in 2 of them. On the shortlist for the World Equestrian Games in a very short period of time. And certainly an incredibly talented horse with tremendous quality movements, and specifically in the piaffe and passage, the very difficult movements, he does find them incredibly easy and is very, very willing and wanting to do them. So very, very exciting future for him. Falco is a 12-year-old Dutch warm-blood horse that has just been sent to me to ride. He's had a bit of time off due to injury, but he's certainly got all the credentials to be a very, very good Grand Prix horse, I think, and I'm very excited about his future. It's just now a combination of training and Equitop Myoplast to get him stronger, and hopefully he'll have a great season next year.